In today's CEO interview, I'd like to welcome Simon Matter, who's the CEO of Prime Financial. Welcome, Simon.
Thanks, Steve, for having me.
Mate, really happy with doing this session with you. I know we've had conversations beforehand. You've been leading Prime Financial now for 25 years as CEO, and you've really tapped into probably what is one of the biggest transformational aspects that's taking place in business right now. If you look at the way the business landscape, a lot of people talk about the wealth transfer, and it's been cited by Deloitte as trillions of dollars of wealth being transferred from baby boomers to millennials and so forth. But there's something else taking place, and this is where you guys are really focused on. Talk us through the greatest wealth transformation from a business perspective.
Yeah, it's a fascinating time, and when I sort of think about it in probably couple of different lenses, there's a whole host of businesses now where the owners just aren't thinking about succession, and they're not having the conversations. They're presuming there might be a buyer there at some point in time, and if they're not starting to become a lot more proactive about this, then valuations will actually be impacted over time. You don't want to be the last person sitting there waiting to try to sell your business, and it's fascinating to see that the next generation, often family members, aren't as excited as sometimes parents would hope they'd be about buying or taking on that asset. So what we're seeing in real time is, because we're a business that operates across advice, capital and asset management, we're seeing these really unique opportunities to structure outcomes for current owners into a breed of new investors and operators and entrepreneurs that actually want to own these assets and these businesses and take them forward. And just in the last probably 4 to 5 years, we've actually provided equity capital into this SME landscape for over 100 businesses, both equity and credit. So whether it's for growth or for succession, we really love this space. We understand it's where we grew up as a business and started 25, 26 years ago. So I think this wealth transfer in the business space is going to be significant and material, and there are a lot of people underprepared for that, and that's going to present opportunities for everyone.
In doing research on the Prime business model, it's really interesting going down your different products or your different business units, and you can really start to get a perspective about how you've really architected the business and your acquisitions and your growth strategies really around the trends which we've also identified as decade-long trends, which is obviously the non-bank lending part. There's a component to that. Then you've got the other component, which is we talked about business succession, advisory, capital requirements, SME financing, etc., which is all that private capital markets aspect. And then obviously and then you mentioned the business succession area. How do you think about, like, when you're thinking about the direction for Prime? What are the key thoughts that are going through your mind? If you were to simplify the 3 sort of key directions that you feel you're driving towards, or 4 key areas, what are they?
Yeah, so we think about a business probably in exactly that, sort of 4 key areas. You want to make sure that you've got the right team on the park that can actually serve your key customers. And you want to make sure that they're aligned through equity within the business. So that's a key way that we think about getting the talent to give the advice and the solutions, whether it's a business solution or an investment solution. We think about the need to really scale and grow. We're a business that this year will turn over 50 million, but you don't want to just grow for growth's sake, but you've got to keep on providing a more compelling value proposition for your customers and for investors. So I think we're quite unique because we sit on both sides of that seesaw, and I think we get the balance right. But we think that it's important to scale, to play to the significance of this opportunity around this intergenerational wealth transfer piece, but also alternatives. You mentioned and alternatives is defined in different ways for different people, but for us it is that SME piece that we think is really exciting. It's the property piece. And really these journeys are only just starting. Non-bank lending, you mentioned it this morning, it's probably only at 10 or 15%, and other markets globally it's at 40, 50% plus.
Even more.
Yeah, exactly right. And so investors are getting this chance where they can now invest in themes they couldn't invest in the past. So being both sides of that opportunity and having our business being pegged to the growth in that opportunity means that we believe we can grow a business from 50 million of revenue this year to 100 million quite quickly and beyond. And the final point I'd make is there's a lot of advisory groups out there at the moment that aren't probably thinking that far ahead or have that diverse capability that we have. So we won't just grow organically, which has been strong, but it will be by acquisition as well. So I really think the advice and capital firm of the future has to have scale, capability, alignment, and you've got to do more and more for your customers so they get the best possible experience. That's how we think about our business.
And when I was once again doing the research for this, you've got your strategy, and you just mentioned it when we were on stage about the one connected strategy, and it really does. That one connected strategy does speak through your entire business, and you can see how the way in which you're structuring it is that you're not just working on the life cycle of the business, you're also working through the life cycle of the individual as well behind that business.
Absolutely. So, you can get a little bit static about these things and a bit linear, but we're all dealing with people, whether it's a portfolio and a return, it all coming back to a lifestyle. And so the way we think about it is our role is to empower our team, empower our clients, be really clear about what it is they want. And we would prefer people not to get something from us and then something from someone else. That IP and that knowledge and that trust that you build when you actually get under the bonnet of what's important for your clients, it's really meaningful, and you can do a lot more with it if you've got greater capability. So one connected for us isn't just a nice branding and marketing term. It's how we educate our team to have conversations. It's how we build our service stack. It's how we fund our business and think about the future. Everything is very deliberate. And look, everything doesn't work out exactly how you expect it to, but it's very deliberate in terms of where we're going. That advice, capital, asset management firm of the future for business owners and for high net worth families and investors.
Perfect. And just as a final question, you've obviously driven this business now for 25 years, and one of the things I loved about sort of our earlier comments, like I think you even mentioned on the stage 3 years ago, you mentioned to me about how you had plans to double the growth of the business and how you're actually going to do it. So it's nice for me to work with CEOs that execute on what they say they're going to do. What's the plans for going forward?
Yeah, so that conversation we had would have been probably in FY22, and our revenue would have been about 26 million. And I probably said to you at the time, we're going to double over the next 3 years. And that is this year, and we will hit our 50 million of revenue, which is an absolute credit to the team. I guess as a founder and an MD, you're often setting bolshy targets to see how far you can really take this. But we said even back then, we don't want to just get to 50 million. We want to get to 100 million of revenue and keep on increasing our capabilities. So if you're asking me in my heart of hearts, do I think we'll get to 100 million by FY28 to FY30? I think it'll be before then. And just at the moment, we've got over $75 million of revenue that we're looking at acquiring through various businesses. So just like lots of other people are thinking about their succession in their own businesses, we're thinking about where we can buy businesses that would have a whole team that might want to come through and actually grow into something bigger. Maybe the founder's not there forever, but there's definitely teams that want to be, I guess, inspired and want to be part of something that's going somewhere. So if we're having this conversation 3 years from now, hopefully we're well over 100 million of turnover. The team's probably grown from 200 to 300 people. We'll be in more locations doing more for our customers, and I'd love to see our business have a $250 million market cap by that point in time.
Brilliant. Well, Simon, thank you very much for taking the time. Really enjoyed your presentation this morning at Emergence, and obviously enjoyed doing this interview with you.
Great. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you to the Wholesale Investor family for everything they've done to give us this opportunity. You've done a great job.
Thanks, Simon. Congrats on everything you've achieved.
Great. Cheers, Steve.
See ya.